An innocent 9-year-old boy was caught unexpectedly in a playground after a disgruntled 13-year-old took his anger out on the other playground playmate. The boy who lost his life was brutally stabbed multiple times, piercing a rib and cutting into a lung that ultimately decided his fate at the hands of a teenager. The offender, who was recently found guilty of the crime and charged as an adult, was tired of being made to feel like a slave. You might think this has something to do with the race of the children involved, but one should know it's nothing like that. The boy who was found guilty of the crime came from parents who had an alleged history of abuse on their son. The boy reportedly tried to take his own life multiple times, expressed anger and talked of his mother and stepfather physically abusing him, and it seemed like he tried to escape the abuse during his multiple attempts to leave our world. Unfortunately, the boy was unsuccessful in his attempts to take his own life. What transpired next was a moment that no parents would ever wish upon any child in the world. The boy was at the playground with a sharp object, and that's where he attacked another child who had no idea this was their last day. It was tragic on all accounts, and many people believe that the parents responsible for all the alleged abuse should be held responsible for the horrific attack and passing of the other child, whose name is Connor Verkirk. The parents of the offender, 13-year-old Jamarian Lewern, think their child should be let off the hook on the basis of insanity. Some fellow parents believe the boy acted out in hopes to get away from the abusive family and he finally broke down and did something terrible enough to make it happen. Many people want the parents charged with a crime as well. As 13-year-old Jamarian Lewern sat in the courtroom, charged with a brutal MR on a playground, his mom and stepdad took the witness stand. Both have histories of abusing him. Anita Lewern, who is awaiting trial for abuse, and stepfather, Bernard Harold, recently convicted of abusing Jamarian, were called by the defense to help show their son should be found not guilty by reason of insanity. It's not clear they helped. The stepdad admitted to spanking him with a belt when he misbehaved and hitting him in the chest with the back of his hand, but he mentioned nothing about hitting him with an extension cord. Jamarian has said Harold beat him with a cord, leaving marks on the back of his legs, and that he treated him like a slave. Anita Lewern also acknowledged spanking him with a belt since he was young. "I never left marks on my kids," Lewern said. Both said they stopped spanking him since a CPS investigation that followed allegations of physical abuse in 2013. Investigators had found marks on Jamarian's legs, evidence of repeated abuse. "I left the marks," Harold admitted. "I apologized to him and I never used corporal punishment again. I would ask him if he wanted a whopping, but I never did it," Lewern said. "I used it like a last resort to get his attention, but I never did it again." After 2013, Jamarian was 12 when he fatally stabbed 9-year-old Connor Verkirk on a Kentwood playground in August 2014. That he killed Connor is not in question. What a jury will have to decide is whether he was legally sane at the time. Forensic pathologist David Start, who performed the autopsy, said Connor was stabbed 5 times in the back and once in the arm. 2 of the wounds penetrated a lung, leading to his DH. One was forceful enough to go through a rib. Under cross-examination, Lewern said her son seemed happy last summer after returning from New York, where he lived with his father for about a year, to live with her. She seemed to become angry with prosecutors when asked whether Jamarian seemed happy the day of the stabbing. "I can't tell you what's in my son's mind," she said. She also testified that on the day of the stabbing, Jamarian got into trouble for being on the computer and that his stepfather, Harold, said he would deal with Jamarian when he got home. But Harold said he only threatened to punish him, maybe make him rake the yard, not hit him. The lead Kentwood police detective in the case described the home where Jamarian lived with his mom, stepdad and 3 siblings as deplorable. Police found beer cans all over, flies as well as mouse droppings, electrical problems and drywall falling from the bathroom. They found a straw with cocaine residue. The detective also found other knives in Jamarian's bedroom during a search after the stabbing. CPS worker Paula Leonard, who started investigating after the stabbing, said she found mold in the Lewern home, rotted food, filth, backed up sinks and no edible food in the refrigerator. There were dirty clothes and debris on the floor of Jamarian's bedroom and no sheets on his bed. His mattress was covered with bugs. Deborah Sims, A pediatric child abuse expert who interviewed and examined Jamarian after the stabbing, said he told her, "I got a problem with anger." She went on to describe how he had started fires in his home and got in trouble for taking a fake knife into school. But she said she wasn't aware of reports that he had tortured small animals. Jamarian told her that his stepdad beat him with an extension cord for not cleaning and not filling the ice trays. Reports from Child Protective Services show Jamarian had been beaten by his mom with a belt, his stepdad with a cord and his grandmother with a sandal. But, Sims said under cross-examination by the prosecutor, "I've never had an abused child that has gone out and KD someone." At the Kent County Juvenile Detention Center, after his arrest, Jamarian talked of dying and wondered who would give him the shot to end his life, said Sarah Benjamin, a social worker at the center. He was sent to a psychiatric hospital for 3 days. Benjamin said in the months after he returned to detention, Jamarian tried to kill himself, wrapping sweatshirts around his neck several times and once putting his head in the toilet. But in the last 6 months, Jamarian has stopped trying to kill himself, she said. Judging by the report made by Wood TV, it sure sounds like the parents are directly responsible for turning their child into a criminal who has now taken the life of someone else. It's a shame that the lives of both children are completely ruined thanks to the inhumane treatment and alleged abuse perpetrated by such horrible parents. Should the parents be charged with a crime?